It's really interesting the way that things were at the time is because a lot of like bands and artists were not self-contained at the time, right? They weren't writing and performing all of their own instruments and all of their own songs and all that stuff.
Correct.
So what's something that was really popular at the time were session musicians. Right, and this is where like this era of bass, like from like late 50s, early 60s, was kind of dominated by like session players.
Session players who really like to rhyme the first consonant of their first name with their last name. What is up with that?
That's a good point.
It kind of went into the 80s too a little bit.
Yeah.
Why'd you do it, guys?
Which one do you want to start with?
I want to start with a female. These two consonants sound the same. It's Carol Kaye.
Shout out.
Yeah.
The legend.
And she's a session musician. She's more heard than she is seen. And in the huge pile of bassists, you know, there are few females. So we've got to mention her, I feel like.
You know what's funny about that?
Yeah.
Is that she's probably put out more than like most of the other bass players we're going to talk about combined.
Yes.
She is an absolute legend.
Yes.
She's been on like 10,000 recordings.
Yeah.
It is crazy how much Carol, like if the name, it's crazy because a lot of people might not recognize the name Carol Kaye, just
right.
like
Not
that.
Carol Kane.
No.
Right. Carol Kaye.
Kaye.
Right.
You have 1,000% heard a song that she has played.
Yeah.
There is no way that you could be a grown person in the year that we're in.
Yeah.
Which I will not say because next year it could be a different year. But but you have heard. She's played on everything.
Just about everything. I'm just going to pick a favorite, which is River Deep, Mountain High, because I didn't hear that song till I was like older than 10. And I felt like at that point that I had heard most of the Motown-ish kind of songs, the Wall of Sound kind of popular songs. And I remember the first time I heard River Deep, Mountain High, like my mind just almost exploded. I felt like I was going to a mountain. But she played on that, sung by Tina Turner. And that was amazing. That was beautiful. But of course, she's done like, I want to say millions. You might as well say millions more.
Trillions. She also did. I mean, this is the thing. There's so many songs that she played on that I'm not gonna try to name the most popular ones. The one, if you said one, I'll say one. Good Vibrations, Beach Boys. So that's already, look at the range that we're already getting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. In 2 songs, it's wild.
And think about that bass in both different ones. Like what a magnificent musician she was. Like Carol, shout out to you.
And it's funny because her, like, this is kind of a thing that happens a lot, I feel like. She started as a guitar player, as a jazz guitar player. And then she was in a session one day and the bass player just, like, didn't show up. And she was like, I'll step in. And then she kind of ended up realizing she really liked playing the bass.
Yeah.
And not only did she really like it, but she was really good at it.
Really good.
So she ended up being basically the house bassist for LA.
Yeah.
I mean, she was working with Phil Spector. She was what was it, like the Wrecking Crew?
Yes.
Right? She was the bass player of this house band that recorded for so many people. And it's just crazy. Like, if you don't know who she is, like, look her up and just look at the list.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, this one too?
Exactly.
Also this one?
And some beautiful bass lines, memorable ones too. That's
Absolutely.
just the thing as well. It's something about, you know, the bass is really great. A lot of people remember guitar riffs. They remember drum fills and stuff like that. And like when you can remember exactly how the bass played out, that's how you know you've got like a really great bassist.
That's true. Yeah, and it's funny you said that because we were talking about this before. This might be, I feel, the most unprepared for this podcast of any podcast we've done, because the more that I've researched bass players, the more I realize how many bass players I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to not think about the bass player until you want to think about the bass player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because the rhythm section pretty much holds the back down and they actually stay back there, you know, and it's just hard to realize who's playing what. Let's say like Malcolm Young, you know, I pointed him out to my friend the other day. I'm like, that's Angus's brother in the background playing. He's like, oh, I'm like, look, they even move the same, like, you know, and it's just so funny how you can just only pay attention to the
He was
lead
rhythm
singer.
guitar though.
Yeah. Oh shit. He was rhythm guitar, not bass. He was rhythm guitar, but let's just
her in
say
the comments.
he was bass.
Yeah. I thought Angus played drums.
He does.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Malcolm was the singer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And Bon was a lead guitarist.
Oh, that makes sense. I don't know why I got those confused in my head.
Yep. And that's how it goes. But yeah, rhythm section pretty much holds the back down, so you don't really get to pay attention to them, whether they're Malcolm or not. And then, so yeah, it's hard to, it's easy to forget about the bass.
Yeah. So talking about, and you kind of brought this up earlier, you were talking about the Motown kind of sound. Mm-hmm. Let's get into the other biggest session bassist.
Yeah.
Fellow by the name of James Jamerson. Which is, I love that name because it almost sounds like you're making somebody up.
Yeah.
Like who was that guy that you were with? It was James Jamerson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But he let his bass do the talking for him.
Yeah, he let you know he was very real.
Yes.
Real person.
He was very real. Because you can't fake this. You can't fake what he was doing. He literally, I read this statistic the other day. He played on 95% of all the Motown recordings that came out during the classic Motown era.
Yeah. Hear that through the grapevine. Right?
What?
Yeah.
95%, and there's so many songs, there's so many artists.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't know how much we've really talked about this on podcasts before, but Motown is just a music factory. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was literally, you talk about session players, it's like, okay, we have this band that is playing for everybody.
Yeah.
We're just bringing different singers in and out, basically.
Exactly.
We got other people that are writing the songs. We got Smokey, you know, he's doing his thing. We got all other songwriters. And we're just switching out singers, basically, and it's all Motown, and we're just pumping that shit out, and America loved it.
Loved it. I mean, that's absolutely amazing, you know, but less distractions back then in the days, you know. I would say a lot of those session musicians would have been happy kind of to be changed to a studio and have a working gig from Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's funny because you could make so much more money doing that than like playing out in clubs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then also, you know, being on tour kind of sucks. So they don't have to do that.
Right.
They could just get to wake up, drive to the studio, lay down some tracks, go home, be with their family.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Let the singers go out on tour.
Yeah, they can have fun with that.
You know.
And then the singers have to get harassed all the time because people know who they are.
Exactly.
And the bass player's just behind them like, that sucks. But, yeah, so James, I mean, just almost every Motown song that you can think of.
He was on it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he's just the feel that he had was just amazing. The notes that he used were just great. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where you just got to go listen to some of them.
Of course.
You
of
know?
course. Of course. Undeniable great bass lines.
I'd give anything to not hear you whine and cry about